Good afternoon, good evening, good day, depending on where you are in the world. Happy Saturday! This is a bit of a bonus stream. Oh gosh. Yeah, so finishing up last Sunday's adventure. Didn't feel right not finishing off the trip, so here we are. We're here at Kilo Oscar Golf Alpha, ready to finish the trip to Cheyenne, Wyoming in our 172 on our Epic USA cross country. So yeah, hopefully things go well this week. We've got folks in the chat. We've got VATSIM ready to get connected, and we'll get rolling here shortly. We've got Ailerons in the Wind in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Cole904 is here. Hello, hello. Viper Strike is in. I agree. Let's hope. And we're going to have fun regardless. I'm in a much better state of mind this week than I was last Sunday. Kaharia is here. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Ben McClure's in. Good to see it. So yeah, we have V-Pilot ready to go. We're going to do our flight plan. We actually have to connect to the network before we can file a flight plan. But there, we've got mode C going. Flight plan. And file flight plan. Now you don't have to file a flight plan when you fly VFR on VATSIM, but it's handy. So if some center comes on and they need to know what I'm doing, where I'm going, they can advise me as needed. Or I had another pen here. It's okay. I've got my scratch pad off to the side. I have my knee board. Ah, there's that pen. So knee boards or some sort of scratch pad are very handy to have when running on a network, so you can write down any instructions. So if you're like me and have Swiss cheese for brain, you can write it down and then you'll remember it, probably. And we're off to an auspicious start. You don't have to, though. That's the thing. I've had a lot. Yeah, that's because the sim crashed. Or is in the process of crashing. Kaharia, all perfect, just finished 3 of my. I followed Danu for nice. Now the requirements for VFR flight plans may vary, but in the US, you're absolutely 100% not required at all to file a flight plan for VFR flying. You can, it's not a bad idea, but you're absolutely not required. Just kind of cleaning up and getting the sim. I get more crashes just sitting on the ground than I ever do in flying. I don't know why. And that was a straight flight sim crash, so I don't know. Seems related to Game Bar. Interesting. So bear with me a moment while Flight Sim figures out life again. Planned altitude for cruise will be 6,500. Once the sim decides it wants to cooperate. Appreciate the ailerons. I'll keep that in mind. Just waiting for the sim to do its thing. There we go. Why? Take two. Roger that, ailerons. Alright, so unmute flight sim because, well, kind of want to hear everything that's going on. Okay, we're going to go back in here. We're going to flight plan, check it, connect. File flight plan. So that are trim, fuels, there's that, parking brake in, throttle cracked, master beacon, your prop. Set radio. Give it a minute. Come on. There we go. Okay, 122.8 for Unicom. Com 2. Oh, that's good. Have you watched the YouTuber Slapshoes? I have. I watch a lot of Slapshoe videos. Alright. So we're here. We're going to make sure that that's set. Alright, so we're here, ready to go. Think we're good. I think we're good. No. Oh, I need to come over here. A. Okay. AWAS is 120. 121 275 121 75. .313, so we want runway 31. So here goes nothing. Ogalla traffic, Cessna 69er47 Echo is taxiing to runway 31 for departure to the west at Ogalla. Nav lights on. Well, we don't need taxi lights. Strobe doesn't need to come on yet. Are connected. We want to get maximum runway edge. So we're gonna. I think we can go this way. Yeah, we can go this way. And Ogalla traffic, Cessna 6947 Echo is taking off runway 31, departing to the west at Ogalla. because we're at a higher altitude, takeoff roll is going to be a little longer.
November 235, no, 235 Romeo Mike is the PA-28, is departing runway 31, departure to the west, Ogala traffic.
Pass in 1 nacho flaps. Want to make sure we get over the hill. You should be on that flight last night with me. You got no... For sure. I'm getting more confidence on the more I use the network. It's just getting time and not dealing with crashes. Okay, so we want 6,500. We want to make sure that's on GPS. Activate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we'll go with 3,000 foot a minute. Activate nav mode. There needs to be a new roll of flight photographer. Yeah. .616 Whiskey Mike, who's that? So our strobe lights are on. We'll turn the landing lights on just for visibility. T's and P's are in the green. Shuffle Shoes is in. Good to see you. Splasher 6 tried flying the steam gauge 172 and had crossed up aileron control. Ooh. That doesn't sound good. You sound on the ball on network calls are 100% on the money. Stop the confidence thing. Yeah. Oh, and that's why I'm doing it. The more I do it, the more comfortable I am, and I'm getting to the point where I'm comfortable on it. Altitude, we're gonna cruise at 6,500. Cammy's here and lurking. Good to have you around, though. So, the flight from Ogala to Cheyenne is not exactly a long one, but it is... It completes yesterday's flight, or Sunday's flight with tomorrow's flight. And I felt important to actually stream it. Steve Sully, hello, good luck with the computer today. Yeah, we've already had one, but it was an FS crash. And it's weird because I get like straight simulator crashes when I'm just on the ground. And it'll be a flight sim related crash, and I don't know why. But we're making our... Well, might be able to make that 400 feet a minute. We just want to be careful about going up too quickly and freaking out the autopilot. And get a runway trim situation. So, nice steady climb. We're not in a hurry. Nice and smooth is all it's about. So we've got another VATSIM flyer there. So I think we're officially outside of, we're getting out of, so, Ogalla traffic, Cessna 6947 Echo is exiting the airspace to the west at Ogalla. Test Pilot 72's in, good to see you. Hope you're well. We're running the default live weather right now, and it's kind of pretty. We do have to mind the clouds because, as you can see, the current air temp is below freezing and it's going down. So we'll have to watch out for any kind of icing conditions as we go along. So we don't want to get too high. We'll keep an eye on the weather as we go. Let's see, they have an ASOS 125.775. 5. Seven, 7, 5. It's not the airport I'm looking for. Copper Pete's in. How you doing? Hope you're well. There we go.
Ogalla traffic, November 235 Romeo Mike has exited the area to the west. Ogalla traffic.
So we might have some few clouds to deal with as we get closer to Sydney Municipal, but not too bad. And we should be okay. So far we still don't have any centers online, so we're so far Unicom all the way, which isn't a bad thing, but we'll get get to the point where we're dealing with traffic, I think we're gonna the closer we get to California, especially on the weekends, the more likely we're gonna have to deal with ATC one way or another, which will be a nice challenge. And having a handy dandy notepad to write stuff down is gonna help my Swiss cheese brain in remembering calls and stuff and squat codes. I'm awful with squat codes. Lots of them. So we are at cruise, so we can start managing our engine a little bit more efficiently. Stopping by, head out for grub, catch your Roger that, Draco. Enjoy your footage. I think the mixture's good there. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, buddy. I had 3 or 4 codes. Yeah, 100%. That's, in the past, that's always been my downfall. It's just, I get a squat code, I go to put it in immediately, and I instantly forget what it was. So I decided I'm going to have my scratch pad here. I've got a knee board for when I'm doing something more serious. That way I can just get the instruction, write it down, and then I don't have to second guess myself. So we see Steve Solo UK, we've got Viper Strike, Abraham 2120, Test Pilot 72. Ailerons, you also had a pretty on the ball first officer for your flight last night in the TBM, or so I'm told. Need to reposition my light up there because I had to do some shuffling because the bracket on my shelf up here slowly starting to come down, and I had to put a couple of extra screws in it so it didn't just collapse on everything. So I kind of needed to do that, but that meant I had to take everything that was up there off of there and do the whole. I gotta reposition the light. So I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Allison had a phenomenal flight earlier today. Worky GLA is rating. Welcome along, Raiders. Hope you enjoy the flight. We're flying from Ogalla, Nebraska into Cheyenne, Wyoming. We are on VATSIM. And we've got a few friends with us. Hope your stream went well, Worky. Oh, that is Worky, not Walkie. I'm sorry. Hope your stream went well. Give them a shout out. So yeah, there's not a whole lot here in this part of the world. We're still in the pretty flat part of the plains states. But once we start getting into Wyoming, the terrain really kind of kicks up a notch. Oh, excuse me. So we're halfway to SNY, so the first VOR. From there, we'll end up making a slight right turn on our way to the, where is it? The Cheyenne VOR, which is just to the northeast of the field by like a couple of nautical miles. Let's see. So Cheyenne ATIS frequency is 134.425. So we'll get that on standby so that we're ready when we get close, just to see what the weather's like, make sure we know what runway we're going to get on. And of course, we're keeping an eye on if center comes online, because Cheyenne is a towered airport. So once either tower there comes online or center comes online, we'll have to talk to them. If center does end up coming online, we'll probably just go ahead and get flight following initially anyway, let them know what our plans are, and they'll guide us into Cheyenne just by default, because they're in the position of, well, that's what they need to do with the way VATSIM works. So for those that don't know, when a center is online, they're also responsible for doing tower control, or doing approach, tower, ground, and clearance for any towered airport within their jurisdiction. So now if only tower is online, they're only responsible for tower, ground, and whatnot. So it's kind of an up-down, or from top-down, I should say, model of control. Dunkar98, hello, hello. Hope you're well. Flying here in Wyoming. Looks like some power lines down yonder. Pardon me. Yep, top down. Up down just doesn't have the same effect as top down. I'll check on the Cheyenne charts just to get an idea ahead of time. So Cheyenne, Wyoming has runways 31 and 13. And 27 and 9. I'm in British Columbia, almost to Alaska. Nice. It's a pretty epic part of the world. Looks like there's a rest stop right there at one point. No, there isn't. Oh yeah, if Flight Sim is any indication, you're absolutely 100% correct. And I'm pretty sure Flight Sim doesn't nearly do it as much justice as it deserves. Oh, there's Viper Strike. Hope you're doing well, though, up there in British Columbia. So today's flight was mostly unplanned. It's definitely off schedule. But it's just because Sunday didn't go all that great, so we're doing an extra leg today so that we don't have to do it tomorrow and make a long flight or much longer. Because tomorrow's flight is going to be it's still going to be a fairly long leg. Doing well, no turbulence it seems, I expect with the mountains. Yeah, you're talking updrafts and downdrafts with the mountains and all that sort of stuff, so having a nice smooth flight is always nice. R. Singleton is in, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. You're definitely following the highway. I believe this is, I don't rightly recall what interstate this is. It might be Interstate 80. Yeah, it's Interstate 80. So this is Interstate 80 that we're following, and it should get us all the way to Cheyenne. Which is awesome. Seems we've lost 235 Romeo Mike on Simaware. So I hope Murph's doing okay. Like we might start getting into some areas of moisture the closer we get to Cheyenne, so that's something to keep an eye on. As Mike71G with the follow. Many thanks, dude. Hope you're well. Much appreciated for the follow. Well, the follow is much appreciated. Words are hard. English is confusing. But I hope you're well. Many thanks again. It's certainly a beautiful area of the world here in Wyoming, if for being a bit flat. Hopefully the forecast for tomorrow is favorable, because I'd like to run real weather as much as possible. But we'll hold fast and see what it's like tomorrow. So we're almost over Sydney. I think we're still in Nebraska. Albuquerque Center is on. Give them a listen. 127.85. So we have Albuquerque Center tuned in on Radio 2 just to keep an ear out. You never know. We're not in their ARTC, so we don't have to worry about talking to them at all. But it's always good to have a little bit of chatter potentially in the background. We've got Sydney in our sights now. Cheyenne, Wyoming is the capital and most populous city in the state with 91,000 citizens. Wyoming was the first state to give women the right to vote, and Cheyenne is home to Francis E. Warren Air Force Base. Yes, indeed. So I've also been messing around with some settings in I see what I did wrong. Oh well. So I've been playing around with OBS settings to try to get things more better quality. Clearly I've missed the mark because I undid a couple of things, so hopefully tomorrow I'll actually get it right as we're hitting the Sydney VOR, making a slight right turn on our way to Cheyenne. So next stop is Cheyenne, Wyoming. So far, everything's in green. Temperature has gone up. It's now above freezing, so less of a concern of ice, but not anything. Should always be aware of ice when you're around the freezing mark. So we should be okay, but never take that for granted. Just checked my Hobbs on the Piper and already 30 hours. Nice. Let's see. Hobbs in this. I'm at 60 hours. No, that's way wrong because I've got a lot more than 6 hours in here. Yeah, I've got way more than 6 hours in this livery. Yeah. 50 hour? You mean 100 hour? There's 100-hour inspections and there's annuals. Unless Europe does it weird. Also, don't forget about Cheyenne Frontier Days. It lasts for 10 days, centered around the last full week of July, and is the largest outdoor rodeo in the world. Nice. And 10 degrees, that's cold. This is reading 0C, but 33 Fahrenheit is technically above freezing. Yeah, probably. I definitely have way more than 6 hours in the 172. I feel like it's the Aviation 101 livery messes with things. Because they make it the default livery and it just kind of does screwball-y things. Meh. Don't forget to keep hydrated, folks. Definitely see this terrain start to get interesting. Some cracks in the landscape and small ridge lines. I think we're just way too far away from Albuquerque Center to actually pick them up. That's okay. That's alright. It's an EASA thing, not legally required. Aha. Yeah, because over here you get the 100-hour inspections and then you have annual inspections. So the plane has to get checked out at least once a year to be legal, and then every 100 hours. It's not an inspection as such like the annual, it's like, gotcha. We were barely picking that guy up. Just barely able to hear him. So yeah, today's just, it's a lot more of a relaxed flight as it wasn't, not on schedule. Cirrus even advised now have a 50-hour maintenance inspection, and Diamond didn't pass. It makes sense. To a certain amount anyway. Now today, after this flight is over, I'm gonna stop the stream for a little bit, and then maybe later this evening I'm gonna pick up streaming, and I might try some Forza, get some racing content into the channel, see how it goes. It'll also help me test out OBS settings. There's Test Pilot 72 off our left wing. Got Steve Solo UK behind us. And then Viper Strike ahead and below. Dean Lyford is in. Two-Tone Murphy versus the Stig. Ooh, that's a tough one. Three 352 at 27. Ooh, it's windy. She's windy. Altitude hasn't changed, 6,500. So our altimeter's good. So it looks like we might have some clouds to deal with once we get in there. Maybe not, because only 30 days until Eurovision, only a month away. And then you're going to get to start over at 365. Gotta love some 80s synthwave. It's always a good listen. We're actually doing pretty decent ground speed wise, so we're indicating just under 110, and that matches our ground speed fairly well. We've got a little over half an hour left. About 62 nautical miles, give or take. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the VOR, and then turn into a left or a right downwind. Well, scratch that. A left downwind for runway 31 for visual approach into runway 31. Okay, so the temperature's gone down again. It's fine. You can see all those name tags over there. That's Denver. That's where Denver International Airport is. Very, very active place. There's Viper Straight. Let's see. There's a United Airlines flight on network. There's a EA, United Airlines, Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines. So we're still just on the Nebraska side of the border. Let's see. Awesome. So I have Volanta actually up on my screen over here on my laptop, giving me a nice look at things. Viper Strike with the screenshot edge. On the Discord edge.
Leaving your airspace, frequency change approved, Frontier Flight 36. Thank you.
Well, they came in clear. Need to wear this hat more. The elastic on it is very, very stiff. So tomorrow is going to be a very interesting flight because we're going to be going from here in Cheyenne. Well, we're going not here in Cheyenne, but we're going to be going from Cheyenne to Salt Lake City. Now, the tricky part about that is we've got to go through some mountains. We've got to go through the main bulk of the Rockies. So we've got to do a lot of maneuvering around terrain. Which means our cruise altitude will continue. What's Euro's Vision? It's a European song contest of sorts. Keen Lafford is the local expert on the Eurovision and keeps us up to date with when it was going to be held. Time Agent 2020 followed 19 minutes ago. Sorry if I missed the notification. But there it is. And don't forget to stay hydrated. Watcher is your friend. You ever get that point where you're constantly fussing with your headphones to sit right on your ears? So we still have folks with us. R79, I think they're flying high and away. Now, what's the field elevation of Cheyenne? Oh gosh. So we're already, as it is, underneath the pattern altitude for Cheyenne, so we kind of want to do that. Go to 8,500 to 300 foot a minute. So we've bumped up the engine power, but that's because we need to climb.
Public to be cleared, good afternoon, American 588, approximately 1 mile north of Dock and
May also end up improving our reception for Denver. It sounds like we're starting to pick up Unicom. Nope, that's Albuquerque Center still. It still might improve our reception. Who knows? So hopefully now you all can see me. I need to get another light for over here. And I need to adjust this light here. So we're within airspace of Cheyenne, at least within their outer ring. So we're just past Kimball. Once we get to about 20 miles out, we'll make an initial call, say, you know, we're here, we're coming, you know, we're going to be entering the airspace. If I recall correctly, Cheyenne's airport is up on a bluff. So it'll be a neat approach.
Okay, descend along India arrival. Expect vector explore visual runways and gain.
Now, like I said, this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream. Just kind of finishing up last Sunday's flight. Look at that. So we'll make sure our speed's doing okay. Make sure engine power's good. Because we wanted to climb, but given the altitudes that we're at, we don't want to climb too drastically. Because that can kind of upset the aircraft and the engine performance. And with the thinner air, you definitely don't want to, you know, in a normally aspirated engine such as this, you definitely don't have the oomph to just go, we're going to go up. You know, and like a TBM, you got that kind of power. 172, not so much. And we're continuing to go to an even 1,000. Plus 500 for VFR. So we're going from SNY to CYS. It's 4 nautical miles from CYS to from the VOR to the airfield. Come down here, we can go over here, go to waypoint, and this will give us some interesting information about the field that we're going to. So we've got, its identifier code saying it's a public airfield, the facility name and location, its latitude and longitude, the field elevation. It kind of gives a... It doesn't show the 927 runway. That's a bit of a glitch.
Was that a visual for runway 03?
Okay, so it's only showing me a couple of a couple of runways at a time. So back to that. Nope. And it gives frequencies. It gives us an approach for ILS on 27. And then we can select approaches based on there. So we're going to runway 31. We could select an RNAV approach if we wanted to. Really don't feel like it. And do... Not sure what that information is. So yeah, a lot of good information in the and this is, I don't know how much of that's available in the default GNS 430 530 mod, but in the PMS 50 mod, the PMS 50 GNS 30 530 430 mod, it adds a lot of fun stuff into it. Like you can even get into METAR reports. So the METAR is saying winds are 320 at 317, gusting to 22, 10 statute miles visibility. Clouds are scattered at 3,900 feet. Temperature 3, dew points -8, altimeter is 3019. So we got some stuff up there. There's some nearest airports. And we go back to nav. And we can get all sorts of fun information out of that. And we've hit our cruise altitude, so we'll go back to manage our engine. We don't need to go at the full beams. So we'll dial it back. And we'll adjust our mixture as needed, so it's actually almost fine where it was. And we're going a little slower. Like that. So we're getting a bit of a crosswind, 21 knots. And it looks like Steve Solo is the only one still with us. Wait, there's Viper Strike down there. Looks like we might be getting a little bit of auto-gen scenery here. Albuquerque is closing. It's good to hear, Viper. And we'll change back to company frequency on COM 2. He starts, Lizzie, Hootie, Scooby. We're starting to see mountains off in the distance now. Gets a little flatter. This is going to be around the area that we're going to go, just so we can, you know, not go through the mountains to where we're going, because we're going to go to Salt Lake City next. Tomorrow. Ooh, it's a nice break in the clouds. But seeing some more mountains is kind of nice. So we're a couple of miles from our initial call out to Cheyenne. Obviously, by now, if Denver Center was online, we'd be talking to them and saying, you know, Denver Center, Cessna 6947 Echo, inbound to Cheyenne. Well, approximately 20 miles west or east of Cheyenne, inbound to land. Yada yada yada. And they would, you know, give us direction in. See, is Unreal me targeting good? Just race the storm in Bartow in Florida. I like it just because it injects the METAR information. It's kind of a similar in function to Rex. The one downside to it is it doesn't really do winds aloft. But it works in the same way. It's free. It's not difficult to set up. And, you know, it gives you it injects the METAR data, which would be more helpful because I'm using the default live. I should probably be using METAR information on network. I'll probably do that tomorrow. But overall, I think I like it. Okay, so we're 18, we'll miss the 20 miles, so we're going to start calling Cheyenne traffic. And Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 6947 Echo, approximately 18 miles to the east, inbound to land runway 31, full stop landing at Cheyenne. I haven't either, just with all the CTDs and whatnot, I kind of just set it aside, but the Unreal METAR works well. But it's going to be limited to more lower altitudes. It doesn't do the winds aloft. It estimates them, but it doesn't do it stunningly accurate. So as long as you're at, you know, not super high altitudes, you should be fine with it. It's good, but I don't like when it updates and then all of a sudden all the clouds disappear while cruising. Yeah, it's a little jarring. I haven't really gone in to tweak some of the settings that you're able to do with it. So it might be something that you can tweak, but I don't know. I haven't delved into the config very much. So once we hit the or get close to, once we get about between 5 and 10 miles out, we'll start our descent. can actually see the airfield right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly a little bit north, hitting the VOR, and then we're going to fly for a left down, enter a left downwind for runway 31, and land on runway 31. So we go here, we can look. So we have the VOR here that we're going to intercept, and then we'll turn, and it's a little under 4 nautical miles from the VOR to the field itself. So we'll kind of do an arc in order to get on the downwind for 3-1. And on that downwind, we're going to have a bit of a tailwind. We're going to have a reasonable tailwind. So we're going to come down here. We're going to go to 7,300 feet. Get that ready. So once we hit 10 miles out, we'll start descending to pattern altitude. And we're getting the low fuel warning, but we've got more than enough fuel. We have probably 12 to 14 gallons. I'd say 14 gallons of fuel, and the airfield's right there. So we have more than adequate fuel for the rest of the flight. Ah, there's Test Pilot 72. He was camouflaged. I didn't see him, so he's still with us. That's awesome. There it is. Okay, we're 10 miles out. Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 6947 Echo Skyhawk, approximately 10 miles to the northeast, inbound to land runway 31 at Cheyenne. For the next flight, I might try the SR-22 rather than the Virus. Okay. I shall, for this series, continue to be in the 172. Okay, so we're gonna go 400 feet a minute down. We're gonna draw back the power just a hair so that we're not getting too crazy with the speed. Weather is turning out to be spectacular here in Wyoming. Cat Jam. And Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 6947 Echo is 5 miles to the northeast, inbound to land runway 31, full stop at Cheyenne. Definitely tell that it's starting to get windy. Okay, once we hit CYS, we're going to disable the autopilot. Actually, we might just disable it now. So it's my airplane again. And we want to make an arc. So that's 927 right there. And then 31, the approach ends down here. Hey, there's actually photogrammetry here. I'll be dang. I'll be darn. Of all the places to get photogrammetry, Cheyenne was not a place I was expecting. So we'll arc around. We may cross over midfield to intercept the downwind. There's Splasher 6 inbound on 27, or runway 9 rather. There's Viper Strike. Okay, so there's runway 31. That's where we want. And Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 6947 Echoes on left crosswind for runway 31 at Cheyenne. So there's the runway. So there's Lopox. Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 69 or 47 Echo, turning left downwind, runway 31, full stop landing at Cheyenne. Now it's going to get a little wibbly wobbly with the tailwind. One heading of 01 or 130 for the downwind. There's test pilot 72 in the Baron. Very nice. Got nose up, drop some speed. There's our beam of the approach end of the runway. Trim up some more, get rid of some airspeed. That's a massive train yard. So we're going to just go pull back on the yoke a little bit, help us lose some of that airspeed. Okay, 1 notch flaps coming down. Start trimming down again. Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 69 or 47 Echo, turning left base, runway 31, full stop landing at Cheyenne. So 310. So we're gonna go to 040 for our base leg. Toss in an extra notch of flat, the next notch of flaps. Use trim to go down. Got the runway in sight. And Cheyenne traffic, Cessna 69 or 47 Echo, turning left onto final for runway 31 at Cheyenne. Full stop landing. Alright, so we'll start really dropping the throttle. And we overshot it a little bit. Not too bad. Got a little bit of power, even though we're high on the glide slope. We're not so far. We're on a long-ish final. Almost a 2-mile final. Looks like Lopox and Splasher are down and making their way towards parking. So our approach speed's a little on the high end, so we're going to trim up a bit to take care of that. We're on the glide slope, so we're going to add a little bit of power so we stay on glide slope. And we have the displaced threshold. As you can tell, we don't want to land down here because it's meant to, the displaced threshold's meant to get us over these trees. So we want to land up here. And we'll get the, oh gosh, oh the frames. Frames, you've left me. Dozed off at the flight controls. Oops. It happens. Ooh, she is a... Okay, there's final notch of flaps. Still on glide slope, we're doing good. The approach speed's slowed down. We are low, so we're adding power. Oh, there's 3-1. We're gonna reduce power. Do idle. Floating a little too much. Oh, there we go. That was a chirp, a little bit of a bounce. And we're down under 40 knots. Flaps coming up. We're gonna take this taxiway here. Thanks, Splasher. Flaps are up. We're past the whole chart line. Strobes coming off. Landing lights coming off. Go to taxi power. That is a massive tower. I don't think their tower is quite that big. So we're going to taxi over by this bird dog over here because this looks like the GA ramp. I missed that turn, so we'll slow her down a little bit and take this turn. We got a nice bird dog, couple bird dogs. It certainly is a gusty. So we're gonna hit the brakes. We're gonna aim for this little parking spot right hither. And park. Parking brake set. Yeah, we made it pretty nicely onto the spot. And we're gonna increase the RPMs just a little bit. Avionics coming offline. Lights, nav lights off. Disconnect from VATSIM. And check. And mixture goes to idle. Continue button. So mags. Fuel cut off. Beacon off. Master switch is off. And we're all set, ready to go. So we've got test pilot 72 inbound. Well, technically we did. But that was the only one, and it was a straight up flight sim crash. And we were on the ground. So there's test pilot 72 doing a nice job. That was nice. That was butter. Let's give some butter emotes in the chat for Test Pilot 72. They did update the G1000 the other day. So we got Steve Solo parked up next to us in the Piper Arrow. I believe it's the Just Flight one, given that we can see a tail number. Although it seems to be, at least on my screen, the wheels are sunken into the ground. That's problematic. Yeah, so we got Lopox over here. This being a DA62. DA62 hybrid with a Learjet. Well, I do thank all of you for coming along with me for this short flight. Just long enough to finish off the flight from last week. Viper, you got to work on your parking skills, my friend. you kind of miss the parking spots. Either the T's. So, but I do thank you all for coming along with me. It was a short flight, short stream. I might stream a little bit later, play some Forza, have a little bit of racing fun. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep tweaking my stream settings just to kind of give a better experience. Hopefully it works out great. Very grateful for the new follows and whatnot. Glad to have everyone along. We're going to do a little bit of a raid to our good friend Seamus, who is driving the bus. And we will definitely see you next time. So, till next time, be good to each other, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. And give Seamus some love while he drives the bus, so we'll catch you next time.